Hey everyone, this is Ryan Mitchell with theTinyLife.com. This is kind of my Trello tutorial. I've done a few other videos, so I would suggest you go back and look at the beginning ones to kind of understand, because I'm assuming some stuff that you already know here. So we're going to kind of jump into it. This video is going to be on working with cards. Okay, so Trello functions off of three main things: boards, lists, and cards. So this whole blue area here is a board, which you can get at. You can see this is a board. So we click work. It opens up the work board. And then we have these vertical gray areas here, which are lists. And these lighter gray sections here are what are called cards. Okay. So a board contains lists and lists contains cards. And it kind of works in that kind of order. So we're going to kind of get into the details of cards. So I'm going to go over the main body area here. I'm going to get into this add section here, and then these actions here. Okay, and we're just going to kind of do a deep dive on the cards. In many cases, it's very intuitive, but I thought I would give kind of like an in-depth dive here on cards because there's some cool little tricks that you can learn. So this is a card. It's Meet with Jan. So we're going to say that we're planning to meet with Jan on a business meeting, and there's several things that we want to do. You have a couple kind of areas here. You have your title here. It kind of shows which list it's in. You have your description and your comments, okay? And then there's an activity thing. In this case, we don't have any activity yet, so there's nothing there. In many cases, you may not need to use this description thing. You can just hit X and it'll kind of close it. You can go back to it to edit it if you need to. In many cases, I just leave that blank unless there's some like information that I'm constantly trying to access. So let's say I need Jan's phone number or her email or her extension. If this was a longer thing, I might add that right here. So let's say she's extension, 362. I may just say that so that it's right there at the top of mine. The description will stay here at the top no matter what, while comments kind of get stacked up and the newest gets put on top. The description will always stay there, which is nice for that, quick access type of stuff. So let's say that with Jan, I called her to set up the meeting, but I just left the voicemail. Let's say I'm really forgetful and I just wanted to put down that I left a voicemail. Okay. Now I may, even if I'm not forgetful, I may put this so that I know when I did that, so that if it's been a couple of days, then I know like, hey, Jan never got back to me. I can see that now. So you can see here, it says just now. If you mouse over it, it'll show the date and time. And as time goes on, it'll just show the date for you. So you can kind of keep that. Now you'll notice here, let's say Jan called back, left me a voicemail. Okay. And I hit save. You see how it's stacking? It puts the newest thing. Let's say we're playing phone tag. Left Jan another voicemail. Okay. You see, and that adds it. And then you kind of have this scrolling thing, so you can kind of look back at the history there. But you notice the description is always staying at the top. So with comments here, you can write your text here. Text. You can add a PDF or Word document or something. You can pull that from your computer, Google Drive, Dropbox, Box, OneDrive, whatever. You can also do links, and then you just hit attach. It'll upload it, and you're good to go. And it will attach that attachment for just that comment. That's an important distinction because if you notice, there's attachment here. This attachment will add it to the comment. This attachment will add it to the whole card. And what you may want to use this attachment here on the comment is if you're doing Like, let's say me and Jan were editing a document together. I'll be like, hey, Jan, here's the update, my edits. And then when she comments later, she'll attach hers. And since it's showing up, hers would show up on the top. I know that's the latest version or something like that. You can tag people here. So just like you do on Twitter, you say @Jan, you just put their name or their email. We'll talk about members here in a little bit. You can add little smiley faces, and you can add a card if you want. So that's kind of the comment box there. We've talked about the activity, how it's kind of stacking. You can hit show details. It'll show a little bit more info. You can hit hide. I usually leave the hide because it's more compact. So next we're going to talk about, I guess before I get into that, you can edit the title here really quickly. Just click in, then you can, maybe I misspelt. I'm actually meeting with Jane. So I could hit that and I just hit enter and it's updated. So you can change the title right there. Next, we're going to talk about members. So I don't have any members on this account, but what I would do is I could search members if I had them. So right now it's just me, okay? But I could, type in Jane, and if I had a member attached, which is driven from the boards typically, then you can find the person right there. You click their name and they would get a little notification saying, hey, Ryan added you to the Meet with Jane board, or card. And that's, you need to add the member before you, mention them. That's an important step there. So labels, you can color code things. And if you want, you can just do colors. You don't, whatever color you like. You can also add, if you hit the little thing here, you can add, let's just say we want to use green for meetings, right? So I can hit save and it shows it here. So I know whenever I see a green, that's a meeting. Whereas this might be, yellow could be, technical work, whatever it is. You see, that's the nice thing. This is completely flexible and you can change this later on. You can have a whole bunch of things. So I was like, oh, okay, I can see that this one's a meeting. This one's like some technical work, and I can kind of divide things. It's super flexible. So you do whatever you like, whatever works for you, and you can change midstream. It's great. Okay, next thing here is checklist. And this is like my favorite feature of Trello. You can title it. I always just leave a checklist. And when you hit that, it'll change this over here. So checklist is exactly like you would have on pen and paper, but you get to add things here. So I need to determine agenda, okay? And then I need to ask about the holiday party, and we need to set next meeting. Oops. And let's say talk about TPS reports. Okay, so that's how you add items. Now, later on, you can just click here to add a new item. You can click on the thing. You can actually edit it. You can convert it to a card. Or you can just get rid of it completely. Okay. And then when you do the things, you check it. And you notice this nice little progress bar. Okay. And as you go, it kind of updates it. One thing I'll show you too is when you edit this view, you can notice that right here is the checkbox icon, and you can see at a glance 2 out of the 4 things have been done. There's been 3 comments, and there's a description there. That's kind of what that little icon means. So from this view here, you can kind of see everything about the card without delving in if you need to. All right. So checklists are super powerful, very helpful, And I find that I use them a whole lot. And you can use this for anything like grocery shopping checklist, meeting stuff, project, little mini activities and things like that. Really helpful. The next thing is due date. So with the due date, you can, just basically set a date, and we'll just say we'll keep it at 12, and we hit save. And so this is going to be due July 28th at noon. And what's nice about it is you'll see here now we have the due date. This will turn yellow when we're getting closer, and it'll turn red when it is past due. So you can kind of quickly see what things are coming up and what things are past due that you missed the deadline at a glance, which is really nice. All right. Next is attachments. This is exactly like we were talking about here in the comments, but it's more for like the whole card, right? It's not just a flittering thing. So, exactly here, we choose from our computer or wherever and then hit attach. I use this for like if there's larger or like commonly used things, or if we use a template every time we use this kind of card, whatever. That's kind of what it is. This is stuff that you want people to access. Note that if you add a picture here, it will kind of become a preview. So that's something to note. Actually, I can show you right now. So let's just say we want to use this picture here. Bam. You can see it added up here. And then here, it added it there. And you can actually get it to, not show. You just say remove cover. And it will not show it here, but it's still attached right there. Okay? But you can also go back. I like this because there's certain things that I do that I want to have the picture there. For example, if I'm working with a whole bunch of companies or a whole bunch of people on a project, or if there's going to be a bunch of new people that I'm going to be meeting, I'll put their logos or their, like their LinkedIn profile picture, so that when I'm at the meeting or the networking event and I know I want to talk with Jan and I've never met Jan in person, I just pull this up. There's Jan's picture, and I can kind of look around and, kind of match the face to the person that I'm looking for really easily. Logos, the same thing, whatever it is, just like visual cues. I find that really helpful. So that is a kind of a nice little feature that I will do. All right, the next thing here is the action section, and you can do a few things. One, you can move it. So you choose the board. In this case, I only have one board, so we only have that one option. But if you had multiple boards, you could choose a different board. Then you choose the list on this board, okay? So this very much depends on the board, and then the lists that are on that board will show here. In this case, completed. And then you can choose the position. So, there's nothing on it, so it has to be. But you could add it as the second, you could add it as the last, whatever you want. You just hit move, okay? So you can see here we just moved it from our to-do column to our complete column. Now, I'll mention here that you can just drag and drop things that are on the same board, just like that. But the move function is really good when you have other boards that you want to move, a card from one board to another. That's kind of where this feature really sings. The next one is copy. So we just make a copy of this, and what I use this copy card for is templates. So like, let's say I do something that's a repeated task often. So let's say I work with clients and I have an onboarding process that I, need to get certain information from them. I need them to fill out certain forms. I need to ask certain questions, whatever it is, like something that you do often. So what I'll do is I'll make a template of that card or that card. And then what I do is I just copy it for every time I get a new, client or whatever the case may be. So you basically just duplicate it and then you choose, what you want to keep. You can rename it. You choose where it's going to go. Pretty simple. So let's just say I'm going to meet with Joe this time, and I'm going to keep all my things, and we're going to keep it right there, and I'm going to create that. And if you see, look, meet with Joe right there, and it's copied everything just like it was. The next button here is subscribe, so you can get notifications when something changes. I don't really use that much, but it's there. And the last one here is going to be archive. So let's say, oops, I didn't mean to make this copy of Meeting with Joe. I just hit archive, and then I can delete it. Okay. Now there's two kinds of forms here. You can archive something, which is it gets it out of it. It's like deleting, but it gets it out of it. It puts it in like a hidden place for you so that if you ever needed to, you can pull it back out. Deleting is permanently deleting, and you'll never be able to get it back. It is a permanent thing. So in most cases, I just archive, but if you want to delete, you hit delete, and then it asks you to confirm, and there you go. So they have some more stuff here that you can do that I won't get into right now, but that's basically the the basics of a card. Actually, that's kind of the advanced bits of a card. So we've literally gone through everything here. You can kind of see what it does, and what's nice is it's completely adaptable to you. So just make it to whatever you want it to be, and match it to your process and how you like to run things. Hope that's been helpful. This has been Ryan Mitchell with thetinylife.com. Thanks.